In 1982, Britain fought a war that nobody saw coming, 8,000 miles from home, in freezing temperatures, against an enemy that had home advantage, prepared positions, and knew the terrain. And the weapon that British soldiers trusted most in those conditions wasn't the newest, wasn't the most advanced. It was a heavy, old-fashioned battle rifle that the British Army had been trying to replace for years. The L1A1 SLR, self-loading rifle, the last great British battle rifle. And this is the story of why soldiers who carried it never wanted to give it up. To understand the L1A1, you need to go back to Belgium. 1947. Fabrique Nationale, the legendary Belgian arms manufacturer, had just designed something remarkable. The FN-FAL, Fusil Automatique Léger, light automatic rifle. It was everything a modern battle rifle needed to be. Reliable, accurate, powerful. Chambered in the new NATO standard 7.62 by 51 mm cartridge. NATO members were adopting it everywhere. West Germany, Canada, Australia. Eventually, over 90 countries would carry some version of the FAL. Britain looked at it and said, yes, but we're going to do it our way. The British version had subtle but important differences. Different tolerances. Inch measurements instead of metric. A semi-automatic only trigger group. The British Army believed that fully automatic fire from a rifle was wasteful and inaccurate. In 1954, Britain officially adopted it as the L1A1 self-loading rifle. And for the next 4 decades, it would never let anyone down. Ask any soldier who carried the L1A1 what made it special, and you'll get the same answers every time. First, reliability. The L1A1 worked. In mud, in sand, in freezing cold, in tropical heat. The gas-operated system was self-regulating, meaning it adjusted automatically to different conditions and ammunition types. You could pour water into it, drag it through mud, and it would still fire. Second, accuracy. The 7.62 mm round was powerful and flat shooting. Effective range was officially 600 meters. In the hands of a trained soldier, it could reliably hit targets at 800 meters and beyond. In the Falklands, British soldiers were engaging Argentine positions at ranges that completely outmatched the enemy's weapons. Third, stopping power. When a 7.62 mm round hit something, it stayed hit. Argentine veterans of the Falklands conflict specifically mentioned the devastating effect of British rifle fire. One round was usually enough, but there was a fourth quality that doesn't appear in any manual. Soldiers trusted it completely. They knew it would work. In the chaos and terror of close combat, that trust is worth more than any specification sheet. April 1982. Argentina invades the Falkland Islands. Britain's response shocked the world. A naval task force assembled in days. 8,000 miles of ocean crossed in weeks. And then, some of the most intense infantry combat since Korea. The terrain was brutal. Exposed moorland, rocky ridgelines, freezing temperatures, driving rain and snow. In these conditions, the L1A1 performed perfectly. At Goose Green, 2 para attacked prepared Argentine positions in darkness. The fighting was intense and close. The L1A1's reliability in wet, cold conditions was critical. Soldiers who'd been lying in freezing mud for hours picked up their rifles, and they worked first time, every time. At Mount Longdon, 3 para fought one of the most savage battles of the campaign. Argentine snipers, with night vision equipment, were causing serious casualties. British soldiers using L1A1s at long range were able to suppress and neutralize positions that shorter-range weapons couldn't reach. At Wireless Ridge, at Tumbledown, at Mount William, the same story repeated itself. The L1A1 outranged Argentine weapons. It was reliable in appalling conditions, and it hit hard enough that one round solved the problem. When it was over, British soldiers who'd fought in the Falklands were almost unanimous. The L1A1 was the right weapon for that war. The problem was, the British Army had already decided to replace it. Through the late 1970s and 1980s, NATO was moving toward a new standard cartridge, the 5.56 by 45 millimeters. Smaller, lighter, faster. Soldiers could carry more ammunition. Weapons could be lighter and more compact. Britain developed the SA-80, the L85A1, a bullpup design. Modern-looking, compact, chambered in 5.56 millimeters. It was adopted in 1985, and almost immediately problems emerged. The early SA-80 had serious reliability issues. It jammed. The magazine release was poorly positioned. Left-handed soldiers couldn't use it safely. In dusty or sandy conditions, it failed repeatedly. When British soldiers deployed to the Gulf War in 1991, some units reported preferring their old L1A1s, a rifle from the 1950s preferred over its 1980s replacement. The SA-80 was eventually fixed. Heckler & Koch were brought in to rebuild it into the reliable L85A2. But the damage to its reputation was done, and soldiers who remembered the L1A1 never forgot what they'd given up. The L1A1 was finally withdrawn from British service in the early 1990s. But it didn't disappear. Commonwealth countries kept using it. Australian forces carried L1A1s into the 1980s and beyond. New Zealand, India. The rifle that Britain adopted from Belgium and made its own ended up serving for decades across the world, and in the hands of collectors, historians, and shooting enthusiasts. It's more popular than ever. There's a reason for that. The L1A1 represents a particular philosophy of military design. Heavy, powerful, reliable above everything else, built for the worst conditions in the worst circumstances. It's not subtle. It's not lightweight. It won't win any awards for modern ergonomics, but it works. Every single time. In mud and snow and freezing rain on the other side of the world, 8,000 miles from home. In a war nobody expected to fight. That's what made it a beast. And that's why soldiers who carried it never forgot it. The L1A1 SLR is proof that the best weapon isn't always the newest or the lightest or the most technologically advanced. Sometimes the best weapon is the one your soldiers trust completely. The one they know will work when everything else is going wrong. Britain has a long history of producing weapons that outlast their replacements in the affections of the people who use them. The L1A1 might be the clearest example of all. If you enjoyed this, check out our video on the Sterling SMG, the Cold War weapon that ended up as a stormtrooper blaster in Star Wars. Link is up there. Subscribe if you're new. We tell the stories of British history that don't get told enough. See you next time.